This is going to be a look at one of the Ravens' concepts that is utilized consistently throughout the season. They do it in multiple formations with multiple guys. Sometimes they do it with a slot receiver running the high portion of the route. A flood concept is just basically a high-low on the curl flat defender with a clear out route. But the Ravens do it in some interesting and unique ways. Sometimes the guys are lined up, like for example here you have Mark Andrews in the slot to the left. Sometimes he would run, an over concept to the other side of the field, and then you may get, a tailback running out into the flats, and then a clear out route over here. Classic kind of flood concept, with certain variations off of it. But in this case, he's lined up as a slot, and the flood concept is going to be ran down here into the boundary with the fullback serving. Patrick Ricard with the fullback serving as the flat route, which is kind of common, on some of your power pass plays and such. And then the clear out route is by the number one receiver, which is typical. Now, Marquise Brown has a tendency to not run his clear out routes very well. In this case, he kind of gears down somewhere in this range. Doesn't necessarily matter. This curl flat defender is carrying him, to a pretty good depth. If you ask me, that curl flat defender's doing a pretty nice job. Marquise Brown, it's a small complaint. It appears to be cover three where you have thirds, 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 and then your four underneath droppers. This guy's kind of occupied, not at the depth you'd like him to be at. Ball is completed to Mark Andrews in between the hook curl defender and the curl flat defender. You have the differential in the depth there. Curl flat defender got a lot of depth, and the hook curl defender didn't get much depth at all. You kind of want to see them stay on the same plane in terms of depth. End zone angle, you'll see. There's Andrews. He's going to run the little curl out, I guess you want to call it. It's just a deeper out. Underneath route is Ricard. You can see Lamar's looking right there. He's got his body, really nice throw. He's got his body oriented towards the throw. There's the underneath part of the flood. There's the over part of the flood, or the high part and the high-low, and this should be the clear out, but Marquise Brown kind of stopped running his route. You gotta now. I'll be honest with you. A couple of these plays are mislabeled flood, and they are not. They're just a high-low concept with no clear out route. But in this case, it's another flood concept. You have the clear out route here by number one. You can see Andrews, very similar to the last play I showed you, and the guy in motion was Devonta Freeman. He is technically the flat route. So they're trying to high-low this defender here, with this being the high route, and this being the low route. If you've ever played, strong safety or outside linebacker, been asked to cover curl flat, it's quite easy to give up these routes. To be honest with you, it's a learning process, regardless of what the coverage is. One of the things the Ravens do with some of their flood concepts is not unusual. Tight condensed split on the backside and a backside drag. Rarely, if ever, hit this route. When we have not hit the deep out route, like we do here, when we have not hit that route, is typically because there's been pressure, and so this route is out of the equation because the pressure, essentially removes that, as a possibility for Lamar as a late outlet. End zone angle. The difference here is Ricard, the fullback. Technically, he's lined up in the backfield here, but Ricard, the fullback, is blocking on the edge this time, and the tailback Freeman, who went in motion, is running the low portion of the high-low concept. Easy throw, easy completion. Ravens can do this all day when they have, a solid running game. Ricard in motion here. I don't necessarily think this is flood, to be honest with you, because the flow is going opposite. So the run flow is going here with Ricard. Lamar is opening here. So the run play fake is here to this side. Andrews is still running pretty much the same route I just showed you on the last two plays, except he's running it as an inline tight end here. An inline tight end being a guy who's in a 3-point stance, right? So same route, got a clear out by Marquise Brown here. Does a little bit better job on the clear out. Andrews is open. You still have the one element you see, a not really condensed split, but somewhat tight split by the X, and you have this backside drag as a late outlet for Lamar, like I said, which we rarely hit. End zone angle, same concept. Now it looks like Williams is trying to get out there, but he's not getting out there quick enough from this fake because we open opposite. So Lamar opens this way, and so then Tyson Williams has got to reel back across. So, I mean, yeah, route-wise, you look at it, okay, there's the same concept as what I showed you, but this route would, there's absolutely no way we're going to get that route accomplished, as you see from the timing. And this is, something that Mark Andrews and Lamar have done many times over the past 3 years. Somewhat different type. I call this flood space. Different people have a different name for it. So there's Andrews. He's not going out here. This could be a read. Here he could be reading this defender. So if that defender out leverages him, that could be a read. He certainly is looking right at him. So if that defender out leverages him, do not continue your route here. Just curl up and sit in that open space. That could be what is being read there. We don't get the football off because of the pressure. This actually happens twice, but why am I still calling this a flood concept? You do have a guy out into the flats. You also have a guy on a swing route. You have this little curl, and then you have Duvernay on a post, all to the same side of the field. You see there's no routes up here to the top side except for the backside tight end who's running a backside drag. So to me, this is still the same concept. Flood. We just called it flood space, meaning the high portion of the route wasn't running there. But again, this could be a read. He could be reading that defender. Some of you guys have talked about it, sight adjustment, whatever. It's just a read is all it is. It's just basic football. Is just reading leverage and reading a player and where that player is in relation to you. Certainly seems to be looking in that direction. Maybe he's just selling the out and then hooking up or checking up. By that time, there's already pressure in Lamar's face. Not really here to talk about the pressure from the O-line, or D-line in this case, beating the O-line. I mean, we understand what the deal was there last year. A flood Y sit. Don't really exactly remember this this route combination, to be honest with you. Ricard in motion up there, right to left, play fake up there. So you would think. So what we should have is this here, this here, and then the drag coming from the backside. Classic, same exact route combination, pretty much that we've drawn up the whole time, right? Very similar to the last one that I showed you. You have the curl flat defender has expanded, or what presumably could be a curl flat defender. It doesn't exactly look like cover 3 to me. But you got a vertical route by number 1, and he's out leveraged by this defender, so he's not going to run that out. So that could be a read, and then there's the flat portion of the high-low concept. That could be a read by Andrews, and that's why it looks like two different plays. So and that's certainly something that the Ravens did not do under Greg Roman in 2019 and 2020. There were not these sight adjustment routes, if you ask me, guys who were reading things mid-play. And in terms of the throw, I've talked about this before, Lamar's kind of oriented towards the sideline, still trying to throw the football back across his body. Obviously ends up being a throw that's off target. 22 personnel, I believe. You got a tailback, you got Ricard, that's your 2 running backs. You got Tomlinson and Andrews, that's your 2 tight ends. I got this one labeled as over flood. Yeah, definitely a flood concept. Neat, though, you get 2 clear out routes here. One of them by the tight end. Watkins, I saw his stem to here. I'm not sure how it finished. Presumably it would be this. Andrews running over, and the back running the running the low portion of the high-low concept between him and Andrews. So we're talking about high-low in this guy right here. And as you can see, once I run this, the ball could have been thrown to Mark Andrews again, but we've thrown that damn thing 100 times in the last 3 years. In this case, he was even back here, and he's leaving him now, right? And we know that this is a ball that Sammy Watkins, has an opportunity to catch. DB doesn't give up on the football. Could Lamar throw it to Andrews? Absolutely. Do we want him to take shots up top? Damn right. And that was a Ravens philosophy thing. That wasn't just, Lamar doing it on his own. That wasn't just the Ravens philosophy this year. It was a combination of both. Over flood concept, I have it as a gain of 27. We'll see. Oh, this is the wonderful throw. One of these guys sits. One of these guys sits here and damn near gets in the way. This is amazing throw. Sitting this in between this zone. So one of the safeties dropped down to play the high hole in the cover two. He's letting this guy run past him, however. Maybe he's dropping down to play Andrews. He's definitely orienting himself towards Andrews as Andrews, runs this route, as Andrews' route develops. But in any case, look, Lamar drops that thing in there in between three. It was a beautiful throw. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. And I think the Colts defender knocks himself out on this thing. So it's the point of this video is supposed to be over concepts. So you do have a low here, a high here. Slightly different route though than what we've been talking about with Andrews. It's been originating from the play side. This time it's originating from the opposite side. Same concept though, if you ask me, and what looks like two clear out routes. Very basic. I shouldn't say basic stuff. Fundamental, pass concepts, utilizing the run action to try to throw the ball over top of linebacker depth or, second level depth. And in this case, you got linebackers dropping out, so it's going to be hard for them, even though both of them did get out of there pretty good. Great throw in between three defenders. Lamar's definitely mastered this concept. Not necessarily seen anything that looks like a sight-adjusted route. This one's kind of mislabeled. I'll be real with you. This is to attack the Raiders cover three, although they certainly look like they're in. They certainly look like they're setting up to be in man here. And this, what looks like inside linebacker is widened up. Could be man there. But we were running stuff like this against the Raiders with, a little run action and run blocking and then slipping out into the flats late. And what he's doing is trying to occupy this corner. So I still call this an over concept, but it's not exactly the same thing as an over concept where you have three routes. So, you'd have a clear out, let's say, a deeper out, and maybe we block and then we run out into the flats. That would be a classic kind of over concept where you got three routes to the same side of the field. This is not really the same thing, so this is really kind of mislabeled. And we take this check down to Tyson Williams here because the corner does a great job getting off here with this route by Andrews. I misspoke a minute ago, talked about an over route. I meant flood concept. We had hit this or almost hit this earlier in the game. Andrews had nearly made a fantastic catch. Same concept we hit Sammy Watkins on against their cover three. Trying to give a run block, release late, hold this corner. Corner wasn't as far walked up. He wasn't as close in the plays I'm talking about. He was like back here at like 5-6 yards depth. But in any case, he would go take Ricard and Sammy Watkins' route. It was actually going right to left on the all 22 screen, but Sammy Watkins' route, went over the top, and he was matched up against a linebacker because the linebacker was trying to run and couldn't get there. Check down. I mistakenly called it an over concept again as a flood concept. Ngakwe there is a 7 technique. Andrews releases outside. And I think they're trying to get the football to him. Yeah, you see Lamar's helmet. Lamar's looking right over there at the corner. Sees, he's got the underneath coverage by the linebacker. Let's get back to the all-22 for a second so you can see this instant I'm talking about. Whoop. All right, so there's the moment where Lamar's looking at the corner, and when he looks back at Andrews, you got the underneath coverage here, the corner bailing, the free safety's occupied by, what looks like post wheel up here. Maybe it's wheel sit by that guy. But in any case, Lamar cannot throw the football here. Really nice job. He cannot throw the football to Andrews. Really nice job here of him coming back to the running back. Wonderful play. 22-yard gain, 24-yard gain, something like that. Raiders had base personnel on the field. We kind of got them out of their cover three in certain situations when we went trips because they knew that we understood how to attack it. I have this labeled play action flood. I'm not sure if this is labeled correctly or not. I do know that we've got a sixth offensive lineman on here. Of course, he had to report as eligible because right now he's lined up as a tight end. Clearly, Cologne is not going out into a route. We end up with Cologne and Ricard both on the same side. So I'm not sure how I can label this as flag. Actually, it is a flood. It's three guys to the same side. The running back, just so you know, in most of our play action stuff, our tailback goes out into the left flats. It's like clockwork. We get a deep route there, and then I think we get a clear out. So it is actually a play action flood concept. Andrews, surprise, surprise, is running the deeper out. This is a great throw. Man, when he throws this thing, you don't get this angle on TV, but when he throws this thing here, I mean, look at the line you got. That's a poor line. Look at the line you got. I mean, that defender's right in the way. He throws it over the top of him and to the outside. Great throw. Lamar's really good at these concepts. My intention is to bring a couple of these concepts to your awareness as a fan, let you comment on them, let you correct me if there's anything that that I'm saying wrong about the flood concept. Again, I mistakenly said over concept a couple of times. There's the play fake to Murray, Latavius Murray, and then he's going to run out into the left flats. You watch Lamar's eyes once he skips back around, turns. There's a play fake. Boom. He's at the back of his drop. I mean, he's looking all Andrews here. This is designed to attack the high-low, and that defender, is kind of caught in between two guys. You don't really get a sense of the throw from this angle. Not what I thought. One more, maybe two. I got this labeled smash, flood, tailback, I believe, is going to do the same thing. Release out into the flats. I love this play. I think if we get an instant longer before we throw the football, that we could hit Marquise Brown. So the smash concept, this is a deeper smash. You got like a curl by number one. Brown took this route into the hash and then is bringing it back here. To me, what I know, the offensive system I know, that's smash. Typically, it can be a shorter, I'm talking about this route here. Typically, it can be a shorter, stop route by number one. Number two, that's poorly drawn, sorry. Number two taking his route to the hash or just veering in some and then running, the smash route. You got the flat route by the tailback. I don't know what happens with this throw. I'm not too sure it doesn't get doesn't get tipped or hit something. It doesn't look like it gets tipped. But in any case, if we let this thing develop an instant longer, if we're reading this corner up on Watkins, we could hit this, toward the sideline. Very similar to a ball that Marquise Brown dropped on his fingertips against the Chargers by the left pylon at home, and another ball, I believe, against Detroit that he dropped in the end zone up in Detroit. I might have my games mixed up there. But in any case, two-man protection on the right. I have talked about this formation all year long. Twin wing. We're way too predictable from the standpoint of we're pass proing with these guys, and we're only attacking to the two receiver side when we're in the pistol set. We didn't run enough out of this formation. I'm almost done with all my data. That just looks like a short hop. I guess he's got guys in his face. I don't know if it's tipped or not. You'd have to think it's tipped, right? Like right there, in order for it to end up being that far short. I think I've got one more here. I got this labeled play action flood. So you would think that the flood's got to be down here because you got to have three receivers for the flood to occur. Yep, same concept I showed you guys earlier pretty much. You got a clear out route here. The backside X on a drag. And then Andrews. Is that Andrews? That might be Oliver. Andrews on the deeper out. So all of the same elements are here. And the guy in motion, I think, is Duvernay. He gets the football. The Ravens can run the flood concept out of 11 personnel. They don't have to be, they don't have to be like in a quote run formation like that twin wing formation I just showed you. You can do it out of 11 personnel. You just got to use motion, or your slot up here has got to be tightly aligned, and then he goes late. He goes as the ball's snapped. These are concepts that are simple. Maybe I shouldn't use the word simple. They complement. Let me rephrase that. They complement our run game, especially when we have Dobbins and Edwards back there. Getting the ball out to Duvernay, using him as that underneath route in motion is perfect if you ask me, because we got to get the football to that guy. He's a talented dude. He's a strong guy. Can make plays. I guess I did have a couple more of these. Play action flood is the label here. I think you've got Tomlinson on the field here, so he should have the backside drag. Let's see what he runs. Yep, you got a backside drag as a late a late release. Looks like this guy 44 ends up being clean running through here, getting pressure. Brown on the clear out route. The Chargers do a nice job. Chargers do a real nice job. Brown on the clear out route. Andrews, this route here. I think Freeman ends up in the flats. Late drag by the backside tight end. Let's see. Took me a minute to remember this play. Yeah, we definitely should be if we don't have this read now, and these guys do a nice job. First of all, they sky this. So here's a safety, Derwin James. Here's the other safety. So they cloud over here and they sky here. So what I mean by that is sky is safety down, corner back, cloud is safety up, corner down. So for force purposes, it's cloud up here and sky down here. So you'll see Derwin James spin down, corner fall back. And this guy's doing a nice job of being in between these two routes. And the safety, the backside safety is able to take over Brown. He's able to sit and help out with this route here. This is a nice job of defending it by them. They got the backside drag covered up. The only thing that's open is here. And we don't hit it. I think we try to get it out there too late. And we've already been hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5 or 6 man pressure scheme, depending on if one of those guys is covering the back. No, none of them's covering the back. Against the Bengals, 21 personnel. So we got 2 backs and 1 tight end. So there's Tomlinson. Andrews is off the field. Got this labeled as play action flood. Tomlinson and Ricard staying in the block up there. Yeah, this one's a little bit confusing. You get the inside receiver running the clear out, the outside receiver, which is Brown, bringing it near the hash, bringing it back out to the sideline. Tyson Williams chipping, presumably he's supposed to be here out in the flats. Timing really off. Bengals did a great job of disrupting our timing in that game anyway. Everybody knows that. Back to the first play. Anyway, this is just another look at some of the concepts the Ravens run. If you're unfamiliar with the flood concepts or some of my terminology, the terminology you might be different depending on what system you played in or what system you coached in, or if you play Madden or whatever, whatever your background is, your terminology may be different. But flood to me is just a high-low concept with a clear out route on the same side. So 3 routes, ending up on the same side. One of them may originate from the other side depending on the timing. In order for that to happen, you're usually talking about a tight split on that other side in order to gain that route there. But you see the way the Ravens do it, that backside condensed receiver or tight end is typically just running the backside drag that we've hardly ever hit, and we never hit that when we ran mesh either. I'll have to do another concept video on mesh. I know this one went a little long. Let me know if you appreciate it or you like it at all. It is kind of fun for me to do now that I have all this stuff labeled in the database. It's very easy for me to find. I say this in all my videos. I'd appreciate it if you consider joining the Patreon. You'd have access to this database yourself and be able to go find plays with concepts that maybe you enjoy watching. Maybe you want to create content of your own, or maybe you want to prove me wrong on something on one of the conceptual ideas that I have about the Ravens offense and the things that they do and the tendencies that they have. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments section. Appreciate y'all checking the video out.